sa kabriton o giyang asawang bulanon
magtiayon sa lalawigan sa Bohol.
ng isang dayuhan at ang kanyang asawang Pilipina.
7 taon ng mag-asawa sina Terence at Beth na nakatira ngayon sa lungsod ng Talibon, Bohol. Suportado ni Congresswoman Alexi Totor ang programang pabahay ng mag-asawang Martin sa probinsya ng Bohol dahil sa inisyatibong tumulong sa mga Boholano.
Don't forget to share and subscribe our YouTube.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, it's a little late night chat that I thought I'd just make a few comments on a few things that are happening right now. We are in the process now of getting back into the swing of things. We've had a few days off, but that was after a couple of months, 3 months, April, in fact, that we have been working non-stop. Now, it's really funny that some people will get online to us, and a recent one was very short and sweet, said, get a job, as if they really don't know that this is our job, and that we actually provide homes and what I think of as first responder services and help to people who can't get help anywhere else. You know, if you've ever tried to get help from any one of the larger bodies, you will have found that it's very, very difficult. And even though lots of you have said, wow, you can't have people just turn up at your house. One guy criticizes for that, you know. I'm not quite sure how we work this one out. How codependent you are. He was talking about when Alfred suddenly just showed up. He showed up very, very early one morning and wanted to stay. He had a suitcase. He came in a tricycle taxi, and he arrived without warning, without notice, and wanted to stay for 7 weeks, which of course what then followed has now become history. And so there's no need to go into any of that. But what I was really caught up in as soon as we started doing our blog was that it enabled us to be able to help people, and that quickly became our mission. Now, along the way, we first started doing we started doing videos that were about our life, our simple life, and back then it really was very simple. I was building a house, and we were just living very, very simply. One of the reasons we were living very simply was because we just had my pensions to live on, which wasn't a huge amount. It's enough to live modestly. We make enough from 2 pensions to be able to live modestly. Now, what then followed was that whereas when we actually started our channel, we didn't really think that anybody would be interested in what we were doing. So we had this idea that we would make videos because that was fun for us, and we would show what life was like here on our little, what I always call, scruffy little farm. It's not quite so scruffy now. It's been tidied up a little bit after a lot of hounding and suggestions and complaints from our growing body of subscribers, who would tell us that that we were really scruffy, and of course they were right, and are still right to an extent. But anyway, we started to do that, and because I'm thinking that because we didn't think anybody would be interested, we didn't really try to do anything that we thought would interest anybody. So we just did what was fun for us. We made videos that were fun for us. We didn't think about trying to make it fun for anybody else, and as luck would have it, it began to catch on. Now, for a lot of people who write to me and say, can you help me? How can I start a vlog? How can I have a successful blog? It's really very simple. If you're going to make it, it's really very simple. You just work, and when you finish that, you work some more. Now, even now, a lot of people won't believe this, but it's true. We are still working even at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock we often go to bed, and because of the demands of what we are doing in helping people and building houses and all of that, we most often are up at about 6. That's when my internal clock goes off. It starts nudging me about 5:30, and I manage to cling onto the bed with both hands until about 6, and then we get up. Now, if any of you have ever had a comment addressed by us which is of interest to you, you will have noticed the time, and you will see that we are still answering comments and making videos at midnight, and then we are up at 6 in the morning. So, is it easy to do a blog? I've gotten onto this subject now of vlogging. So, no, it's not easy. It's not easy if you are not doing what you really enjoy. But if you're doing something that you find is fun or rewarding, then it's not as hard. So if you're going to be thinking about starting a vlog, the main advice comes in maybe 2 parts, maybe 3. It'll depend when I get to number 3. But the first one is, you should be doing things that you are passionate about, what you love to do. And after that, you should do it diligently. You should. A lot of people, when we first started, gave us a lot of advice, and this is what you'll find, is that people will give you a lot of advice, and oftentimes that advice is actually not based on anything that they really know, and it certainly isn't based on an ever-changing situation. Why do I say it's ever-changing? Well, because since we started, like, 4 or 5 years ago, things have changed a great deal. For one thing, in the Philippines, one of the 2 major TV companies and employers of actors and celebrities has gone out of business, and it's not making movies and doing what it was doing before anymore. And so on the market there are a number of, in the case of women, beautiful women, and in the case of the guys, handsome film star guys. And now they've turned to making a vlog, so they've got channels. So now little old us are in competition with, say, Tony Gonzaga, who in a fairly short time, working hard, she did her stuff, and she did what she loved, and now she has in the millions of subscribers. Now that brings us to one of the big accusations that we had. We were always judged because when we started we had nothing. Now normally it's a real irony with the way that the mind of haters and bashers works. They'll take something that normally would be a reason to congratulate someone, and they'll criticize it. So we started with very, very little. We struggled for the down payment on a motorcycle, which we paid off in 6 months, and that was a struggle just to get a motorcycle when we first got here, because everything had run out. We spent money on building this house, and even in building the house we had to go with something that we could do. Now certainly for one thing we couldn't afford to have any team of guys like we have now, like the Superman team, to come in and polish off most of the work in a couple of weeks. No, we couldn't afford to do that, and so it took about 2 years for me, working pretty well alone, to be able to build this house. Now it's no great thing, believe me. It's made of metal stud and metal sheeting, so it can get hot, and it's only recent that we've been able to afford to get an air conditioner, and then we found out how much it was going to cost to run it, and suddenly we don't we don't use it so often. But when we first, so always it's about making sacrifices. And if you start a blog, it doesn't matter whether you're starting a blog or a farm or or whatever you're starting, you're going to have to make sacrifices, and usually that's sacrifices with your time. So now, instead of, right now, I don't know what the time is. What is the time, Beth?
9:30.
It's 9:30 at night, and I'm making a vlog. Now, yes, I'm enjoying doing what I do, because as I've already stipulated, you need to be able to have a passion about what you do. So yes, this is part of what I do and what I enjoy doing. But I'm looking over there, and Beth, who I just called out to, is also working at 9:30, and neither of us are even thinking about quitting work just yet. So that gives you an idea. In a way, it takes over your life, because you start to think in terms of whether something would make a good video or not. And it's really strange that people say, well, you're just doing it for the views. Oh my gosh, how did they work that out? Yes, because you get paid according to your views. Now, against all the advice that we were given when we first started, of only do one video a week, otherwise it's just no good. Well, we didn't listen to that, okay? We didn't listen to that, and what we did was we just turned those videos out. We made videos about everything that took our interest, everything that we thought was of some kind of interest to other people. We tried, in my particular case, Beth can't do this because she's used to seeing everything that we have here. She's used to seeing a carabao in the backyard. Oh, okay, what's so unusual about that? It's a carabao. But if you were brought up on cobbled streets of Manchester, having a carabao in the backyard can maintain its appeal for quite a while. I still look out there. I look out the back when I'm having my breakfast. We have a little breakfast bar that's outside, and it faces out onto what is our backyard, and our backyard is several hundred. We are in hundreds of square miles of hillside, but because of the altitude, these hills are quite high, so that they are regarded as mountains. So we look out onto mountains, rolling hills as far as the eye can see, and a carabao in the yard, and I never get over the the pleasure of seeing that. So one of the things you have to do is you have to maintain the magic in what you see. So if you're doing things and you find that people like them, then what you have done, my opinion is that what you have done is you've continued to see magic in what you see. And because of that, it communicates onto the video. And then people also see that there is magic in the life that you lead. And so that's what happened with us. We had this quirky way of living. When I first arrived here with Beth, we had decided that we were going to come and live at Nana's place. And Nana had a very, very simple house that she had been living in for something like 45, or I think it might even have been 48 years. She had brought up 10 children, of which Beth is one, of course. And Beth is the youngest of 10 children. So all of that was completely natural to them, but to me I chose to see it as being magical. Now, depending on whether you're a basher or a lover of what we do, you will see what we do as being something which we probably have to work hard at, and you will be right. As I said, we have to work hard at what we do in order to produce enough videos to be able to earn a living, and that is what we do. We supplement our income. My two little, I say little, small being the operative word, and I have those two small pensions. One is a small pension from the UK, where I spent most of my life, and then for 20-something years I was in America, and I put into the pot so that I could have a pension when I retired, and that's what I did. And then I came here. Now, I'm often accused of running away. Did I run away? Damn right I ran away. Of course I ran away. This was the life that I wanted, and it wasn't the life that I had there, even though living in Florida was terrific. You know, I had lots of friends. I had a life that I enjoyed, but I really was caught up in an economic downturn, the same as a lot of other people. Houses bottomed out, and because people had no work, myself included, that we had no real income coming in other than my meager pensions, and in America they were not enough really to live on. So I came here. I had knowledge of the Philippines because I'd been here many years ago, and I actually came when President Marcos was in power, and it was martial law, and I came here then, and I had a very interesting time. So I came back. Now, can you earn a living at being a vlogger? Well, it was always denied in our case. Our case depended it depended what we were being accused of. If we were being accused of scamming somebody, then we were making fortunes because we were scamming it off them, right? But if we were being judged as not having anything and being poor and being losers, then we didn't earn any money at all. So, what's the truth? The truth is that if you are having the views, right, if you are getting the views, you will be paid according to the numbers of views. Now, this was never really acknowledged. And people who criticised and thought that we must have been scamming money from whoever we came into contact with, that must have been the case, because how could we afford to buy a Ford Raptor? Well, it's not true to say that you can't earn money. Now, as I said before all of these celebrities started to have their own vlog, which of course they go into millions almost straight away. But you do have other long-standing people who have been vloggers, and one devastating piece of information for a lot of people, not a surprise for me, but the Ahern family have now disclosed that their best month they made something like 1.4 or 1.5 million
1.8.
pesos. What?
1.8.
1.8. I thought it was more than 1.5, but I didn't want to make a mistake. So Beth is telling me that he's revealed, Brian Ahern has now revealed, wow, this was our best month yet. We made 1.8 million pesos. Now, a rough calculation on that is around 40,000 or more US dollars. Now, here's the thing. When you hear 1.5 million, you mean, oh my God, they're earning all of that money. When you hear it translated into dollars, it's really not even a great wage in America. So, you know, if you're earning 40 or 50,000 US dollars in America per year, that wouldn't be a great amount of money. Now, bring it back to us. We never earned 1.5 million in a month, but we did pretty good while it was going good. Now, it's not a secret that our views now have dropped right out. Now, here's an interesting thing, is that people praise us for what we do. We change lives. It is true to say that we change lives. We are supported by people that we consider our heroes, and we have a registered charity, and we do things which change lives. We take people who are the poorest of the poor, and we can give them a house. We can build a very modest little house, and it will be dry, weatherproof, secure, and a pleasure to live in compared to what they were living in before. So we're able to do all of that. So our videos in a lot of ways are dominated by that kind of work. Now, here's the what can I call it? It's like a bitter pill in a way, because wouldn't we all love to think that if we're seen doing good deeds, people would love that, and the people that follow us do love that. But we actually made more money, were more successful when we were doing fun videos. Beth and I used to go on camera together and we would goof around, and it was all about having fun. Even when we went outside, Beth has this way, often criticised. Everything is always criticised, but she has this way of deciding that something would be called in a certain way. So we have a carabao called James Bond, and she has ridden on the carabao James Bond, and this, there's all kinds of stuff like that. She was famous for her misquotes of the way that you would translate something that was nearly correct. Now, this has always been a thing, that people will misquote, mispronounce, misjudge, mistranslate something, and for the people whose language they are actually speaking, it will be very funny. That's why we have a t-shirt that says "We eat the visitors," and other expressions that she had which were natural to her, which were almost correct. Like, instead of saying that the ground was slippery, she would say it was slippy. And these little things, they catch on, and because of that we were successful. Now, we didn't earn anything. I think at the best time we earned, when things were going really well, we were earning maybe 400,000 pesos a month. And here's the thing, and we keep saying this, but people who don't want to hear anything good refuse to hear it. How could we possibly buy a Ford Raptor? Well, actually, it's easy to understand if you had parents who didn't believe in finance. Now, I know that my parents, if they were forced to, would have to get something on finance. But what they preferred to do, and advised me and my siblings to do, was to save until you could afford to buy it. Now, in a way, when it was going really well, we didn't know it would last. And in fact, when anybody else started to strike lucky, we would say, better put that money away because you don't know how long it's going to last. And that's what we did. So think of it this way. If you go out and buy something on finance, you go out, you put down a large deposit of money, and then you make monthly payments for 3 to 5 years. And in 3 to 5 years, the vehicle, a vehicle in this particular case, would be yours. Now, my view on that is, what happens if your income suddenly drops? Well, I tell you what happens to it. They come and take whatever it is that you're buying away. Now, we saved and saved and saved, and we didn't think of the money that we made on AdSense as money. So most of everything that we finally started to pull in from AdSense was saved. It was never money. We never viewed it as money. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make usually when they suddenly have an increase in their income is that they go out and they buy a car on finance, and then they buy some new furniture on finance, they buy a house on finance, and then if it all goes wrong, it really all goes wrong. Now, the other thing is that when we saved our money, we earned a little interest on it. When you pay for something on finance, you pay interest on it. But it's not a little interest, it's a lot. So, as in the case of a house, you may only have bought the house for $200,000, but by the end of your 20-year mortgage agreement, you will have paid many times more than $200,000 for that house. And it's the same with a car. So when we saved and we went in and we bought that on the spur of the moment, believe it or not, we could afford it. And one of the things that I said as we drove down the road in our new Raptor was, the good thing about this is that no matter what happens, no one can come and take this away from us because we haven't paid the payments, because we paid for it. Now, it took all of our savings and me pledging my share of my pensions for a few months. I think about 3 months I had to cough up my pension and just go on kind of like meagre spending money. But it was worth it. It was worth it because we had gone through several years of people, our subscribers, saying, why don't you buy a new truck? Because our trucks were always breaking down. So now our Raptor has never broken down. Expensive, but it's never broken down. So there are ways, if you got lucky with a vlog, there are ways in which you can earn. If you're living in the Philippines, you can earn several 100,000 pesos every month. And if you're bright, you'll save it. Now, in the beginning, we had a lesson in how that should be done because we didn't have a PIN number. When you first start and you get monetized, you need a PIN number. They give you a PIN number. Now, we needed a PIN number and we didn't have one. But in order to log in, you need a PIN number. So you give all your details. Now you're trying to get your PIN number. You give all your details down, and then it comes to a bit where it says PIN number. But it doesn't have a box that says, I haven't got a PIN number. So it took a long time of great confusion to get that organized. And by the time that that came through, we had been earning on AdSense. Now, if we had chosen to, we would have taken that lump sum and gone, wow, yippee! But we didn't. We said, it's never been money. We've been doing this for nothing all along, apparently. We hadn't actually, of course, but we've been saving it. So we continued to do that, and that's always been our rule, and it is even now. That's what we do. So I think I've waffled on for rather a long time, so I'll give in to those looks that Beth is giving me, and I'll let you go, if you're in fact still here. Thanks for looking in, and bye for now.